This is the reason every single person needs to start learning AI. Imagine if you posted a picture of your window and someone screenshots it, right? Then goes and takes it and drops it into a tool, knowing the city that you live in. And then that tool goes and scrapes using artificial intelligence every single pixel in Google Maps of the city and finds the exact part of the block that you live in, the exact floor, and even can face your window. This is exactly what we're facing. Everyone needs to start learning about AI today.
Think about this technology and listen to these stats. Approximately 7.5 million people experience cyberstalking each year. Around 80% of all stalking victims are tracked using technology, while 67% are stalked in person. Nearly 1 in 10 Americans has had GPS device hacked or tracked without their permission, and by 2025, it's predicted that around 23.1 or 2% of the population could experience cyberstalking. If that isn't creepy and a concern, then I honestly don't know what is. Welcome back everyone to the creepy, the weird and the strange. Let's dive in.
So the CIA has multiple documents that they've released on scalar energy waves. Some of these talk about how scalar energy works, Nikola Tesla's research, as well as the impact scalar can have on the body, and I'm going to break it down as quickly as possible. The first document really goes over what is a scalar wave. And you can see in this section here, it talks about how scalar waves are not an electromagnetic wave. So unlike most energy wave patterns, it doesn't follow this wave-like system that can be measured. From what I've read here, my hypothesis is that the scalar energy is directly interacting, interfacing, and working from the quantum field, which, as we know, the quantum field is this immeasurable field that connects all of reality together, where we know it exists because we can interact with it, kind of like through scalar waves, but we don't actually necessarily have technology that can easily measure it. Also very interesting that the moment they started talking about Nikola Tesla here, there's a piece of the document that's been redacted that you can't see. If you'd like to see the mathematical equations on scalar waves, here they are, they're in this document. This document also helped me come up with my own hypothesis, but I just wanted to point out this one section here. Pause if you want to read it. Essentially, it's showing the two ways that scalar energy fields work and how it can influence matter or physical particles. Now, the last document I'm going to quickly review is the one where they started looking at the impact of scalar on the body. Just to summarize this as quickly as possible, essentially what they found is that scalar energy can have an impact on certain neurotransmitter uptake. And because neurotransmitters have such a big impact on how we regulate ourselves, how our body manages itself, they talk about how this could end up having a bigger impact on our nerve systems, on our cell tissues, and could expand across the whole body. And there is actually another study that wasn't done by the CIA and isn't listed in these documents, where scalar energy was shown to have a significant influence or impact on DNA. So here's my overall hypothesis and summarization based on these documents. And I'm going to be tying in some of my ideas or understandings around spirituality in this. Much like what the first document was showing, scalar energy works in the quantum field. It harnesses, integrates, and works in that space of energy. And the quantum field transcends time and space. If you look at the CIA documents on the gateway process, essentially the quantum field holds the blueprint of reality. Hence, reality being a hologram, the quantum field holds the blueprint. That means each of us has our own individual blueprint. And from everything we've gone over in these documents, as well as my own understandings and experiences in the field of working with spirituality, essentially what I'm seeing is that scalar energy starts in that blueprint area and can influence that blueprint. And my belief is that our DNA essentially holds a lot of the information on the blueprint of who we are, especially as a soul or a spiritual being integrating into a human experience. This makes me believe that scalar energy can go into that highest level of existence, that spiritual level of existence, where our foundational blueprints exist. The blueprint that talks about, who we are, what our strengths are going to be, what our challenges are going to be, where we're holding our traumas, where we're holding our subconscious beliefs, all of that unconscious structuring that kind of holds the container of our soul. And scalar energy can go in and influence that structured container. Now, once again, this is just my own hypothesis, taking what I've read and then expanding on it from what I understand about spirituality. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on that as well.
I've looked into the scalar energy, and apparently it doesn't have a frequency or wavelength. It can actually influence physical matter and biological systems, including influencing our own thoughts and perceptions. It can also affect our mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual growth. And there actually is research currently being conducted to try and actually manipulate scalar energy to control nanobots for medical breakthroughs. It sounds like complete sci-fi to me.
All right, NASA, I got a bone to pick with y'all. This right here is a picture of Mars. This right here is a picture of Devon Island, which is in Canada. And they look very much the same, except none of the rocks line up. This is all satire. It's all a big joke. Watch the video. So I decided to go on Google Earth, NASA, and we're going to check out Devon Island, and we're going to see what it's all about. Y'all ready? Here we go. All right, so as you can see, it says the Mars-based bed and breakfast, but when you zoom around and you just kind of check out everything, they're all on four-wheelers and what is that? Mars Institute? Hold on a second. NASA, CSA, which is Canadian Space Agency. Don't forget now, this entire video is satire. It's all a big joke, fact checker, so there's no misinformation because it's just a joke that I'm making on this video. This right here is Mars. This right here is Devon Island. All he did was get a little filter and put it over it from Devon Island. He's like, oh, yeah, is what people say, but that's actually not true. Fact checkers, is it? I mean, really, man?
Now, why would NASA, who was founded in 1958 and received almost $650 billion so far, try to lie on a global scale? I mean, I can't think of any other reason why.
Now check this out. A YouTuber just found the devil in Alaska.
Oh,
yeah,
I heard about this.
Bro, the footage at the end of this video is genuinely terrifying. A popular YouTuber from the United States of Alaska, Luke Nichols, widely popular and known for his channel, The Outdoor Boys, famous for survival camping and exploring the world's most dangerous and terrifying places, had been exploring the Alaskan mountains nearby the Gulf of Antarctica. Luke had been traveling through the forest in his snow machine on his way to find some shelter for the evening. He came across a large tree blocking his path. He tried to move it, but it was just too heavy. Luke decided he must set up camp for the night, as night fell quickly, so he began to build his snow shelter for the evening. After hours of setting up his shelter, he began to get ready for bed. But this was when the terror began. Luke could hear a noise coming from outside the shelter. Take a listen before I show you the final footage. This is the noise of the devil, Satan himself.
If you were out camping on your own and you heard that, would you stay or would you run? Or would you just yell at the thing and just tell to be quiet and then just invited for a nice cup of hot brew?
Ever since Diddy's arrest on the 16th of September, he has been held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. Diddy's attorney has stated that prison food has been the roughest part of his adjustment to being behind bars. Now he has access to boiling hot water and a microwave and is likely making his own food in fear of being poisoned. Now there has been speculation that Diddy is receiving more prison privileges than most. Now apart from having access to commissary items and being allowed basics like a tracksuit and sneakers, allegedly he's been given additional supplies by correctional staff and allowed to shower every day as opposed to other inmates that are only allowed to shower 3 times within a week. Now there's also been reports of inmates fighting each other over who gets to make Diddy's bed. Well, apparently he's not allowed to watch TV or have access to a radio, but check out this footage of Diddy riding around on a motorbike in what appears to be an empty cell block while all other prisoners are locked inside their cell. And you tell me that he doesn't have additional prison privileges. Check it out, man. What money can't buy, eh?
When in prison, what did Diddy say to his motorbike when he sat on it? I need to stroke your engine. Whew, tough crowd.
His calculations, and in the mathematics, he said equation 56 was derived for the case in which 3 degrees of freedom for particle motion are assumed. Now that's most atoms in the universe are 3 degrees of motion. But for the two-dimensional jitterbug motion, assumed in our case with the number of dimensions equal to 2, geometric considerations require that the gravitational attraction be reduced by a factor of n divided by 3 squared, or 4/9. His mathematics says that when matter begins to interact in 2 dimensions, as opposed to 3 dimensions, it should lose 4/9 of its gravitational weight, or it should weigh 56%. So I say, hey, this is really nifty. This is the way physics is supposed to work, people. You're supposed to write out a theory and then prove it experimentally. That's the way it's supposed to work. Unfortunately, it never works that way. What we do is we see something we can't explain, then we write physics to make it explain it. But in this case, they actually did it right. They actually theorized this, and our stuff actually weighs the 5/9. When it goes snow white, it loses 4/9 of its gravitational attraction. Now, this is really important because these are the spirit atoms. These are the atoms that are in your body that flow the light of life. These are the atoms that are 5/9 here and 4/9 in the 5th dimension, where all of us are connected. Obvious question is, where does the 4/9 go? It's in the 5th dimension. Who's laughing at that? You think that's funny? It's real simple. You got 5/9 here. Where's the 4/9? What's in the 5th dimension? So your 5/9 here and your 4/9 gone. Or if you like it better, let's just say your 4/9 with God. Does that make you feel more comfortable? Your 4/9 with God, where all of us are with Him in that same place. So if you think about somebody over there, there is a connection of 4/9 of you, your spirit, with them. So there's the physical connection with people through the 5th dimension. Now let's go a little further with what Hal showed me when I was down there. This is out of Classical Quantum Gravity, Volume 11, 1994. The warp drive hyperfast travel within general relativity. It is now shown within the framework of general relativity and without the introduction of wormholes, it is possible to modify a space-time in a way that allows a spaceship to travel with an arbitrarily large speed by a purely local expansion of space-time behind the spaceship and an opposite contraction in front of it. Motion faster than the speed of light as seen by observers outside the disturbed region is possible. The resulting distortion is reminiscent of a warp drive of science fiction. However, just as happens with wormholes, exotic matter will be needed in order to generate a distortion of space-time like the ones discussed here. So what we got to get is exotic matter. What's exotic matter? Matter that has less than its true gravitational attraction. He says, Dave, look here. He said, here is space-time. It can be depicted graphically. And he says, when you lose gravitational attraction, it's gravity that determines your space-time. So literally, when you lose 4/9 of your gravitational attraction, you're actually bending space-time. No, I never thought about that. You're right. You're bending space-time. And he says, well, Dave, even better yet, he says, what we really need is a material that has no gravitational attraction at all. A material that weighs less than nothing. Exotic matter. Pure and simple. Less than nothing. I showed him the graphs I showed you guys. And he looked at him and he says, Dave, when it weighs less than nothing, you shouldn't be able to see it. I said, that's right, that's right. He says, you know why you can't see it? It's no longer in these 3 dimensions. It has withdrawn all into the 5th dimension. Now the implications here, people, are really serious. It really is serious. Let's go to the next one. I know, you already know about this. Here's Putoff's, he's actually commenting on this article about Miguel Albuquerque. He's talking about his paper. He actually says, therefore, the proper conclusion to be drawn by consideration of engineered metric vacuum energy effects is that with sufficient technological means as to appear magic at present, or to use Arthur C. Clarke's phrase characterizing a highly advanced technological civilization, travel at speeds exceeding the conventional velocity of light could occur without the violation of fundamental physical laws. And we might add, this could in principle be done without recourse to concepts as extreme as wormhole transversal. However, clearly exotic matter field states, e.g. macroscopic Casimir-like negative energy density vacuum states, which is exactly what I showed you, less than no gravitational attraction. As a result, the possibility of reduced time interstellar travel, either by advanced extraterrestrial civilizations at present or ourselves in the future, is not, as naive consideration might hold, fundamentally constrained by physical principles. What they're saying, people, is that your consciousness, the atoms of your consciousness, can literally travel in space-time. They can go anywhere they want to go, anytime they want. The problem is your physical body has to stay here. Ancient Egyptians, I think, understood this better than anybody. They said we have a physical body that we must feed physical food to so we can grow and become what we're meant to be. But they also said we have a light body, which they call the Ka. And they said you have to feed your light body so it can grow and become what it's meant to be. When you feed your light body, you're feeding your consciousness. You're actually feeding it with the asymmetrically deformed high-spin states of atoms. But these atoms in your body literally interact with the DNA. They literally interact with the cells of your body. They actually interact with the, what do you call them, carbules? And when you understand that when they are sufficient density in your body, so that quantum coherence occurs, that literally everything begins to act as one. And they are capable of totally bending space-time. Totally bending space-time, where even your material body disappears. Now, I'd like for you to ponder this just a little bit, because this is really heavy duty, what I'm sharing with you.
This really got my attention because when he was talking about the fifth dimension, the 4 nines with God and how we were all connected, it took me back to how I became saved, because that night, the dream or the vision that I had, I was there. And the best way to describe it is like a form of energy, and everything's just connected. The slightest fragment that goes missing, everything just falls apart. But anyway, yeah, I'll mention more about that once I do get my testimony up and running for you.
Maybe we should pay attention the next time we take a family photo. In 2015, Kim Davison and her friend Jessie Lou took their 3 children to Murphy's Hole, a quiet swimming spot on the Lockyer River in Queensland, Australia. It was supposed to be an ordinary day, laughing, swimming, and snapping pictures to capture the fun. But when Kim reviewed the photos later, she saw something disturbing. In one photo, Kim and Jessie's children can be seen floating gently in the water at Murphy's Hole. But there was a chilling discrepancy. Only 3 children were at the lake that day, yet 4 appeared in the picture. The story took an even darker turn when investigators discovered the tragic history of Murphy's Hole. Over a century earlier, in 1913, a 13-year-old girl named Doreen O'Sullivan drowned in the very same spot. Could this spectral child be her restless spirit, forever tied to the waters that took her life? Skeptics proposed this image was the result of a splash of water caught at just the right moment. But to Kim, Jessie, and the paranormal enthusiasts who examined the photo, it was undeniable. They had captured a ghost. What do you believe? Let me know in the comments. For longer stories like this, come say hello on YouTube.
I remember last year my mum was telling me that her and my sister went out for a walk one night, and I can't remember if she took a video or photo, but it was near her old house, like where she grew up. Now, my mum's side has always experienced a lot of paranormal growing up, and at this house there was a lot of it. But about 10 years ago, construction went underway, and as they were digging up the grounds, they actually came across an ancient burial site. So to this day, my one still believe that that was the reason as to why they always experienced so much paranormal activity. Anyways, after the walk, my mum went through her phone and she came across what appeared to be like an apparition of someone, but it was only them 2 that night. So yeah, just thought I'd share that with you.
Who is the Pope? He is the Emperor of Rome. Rome never died, never faded away. It became the Vatican. What is the Vatican? It is the priesthood of all of the old pagan religions of Rome, built upon the deception that they are Christian. Can man change the orders of God? Can man elevate himself above God? No. Then why did the Pope change the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday, the venerable day of the worship of the sun Osiris? Why in the outer courtyard of the Vatican is there a temple of the sun, an obelisk, and a reflecting pool built as a fountain around the base of the obelisk? Because what we're talking about in Dealey Plaza and in Washington, D.C. exists also in the Vatican. And I'm not trying to insult Catholics, I'm just trying to tell you the truth.
Personally, it's not up to me to say what denomination a person should be in, but as long as God is in the centre and as long as you have a relationship with him and you mainly pray to him, then go for it. But the Vatican Church is a lie and should never be trusted at all.
Elon Musk confirms he already uploaded his brain to a cloud. Supposedly he spoke to himself. Well guys, we officially live in a sci-fi movie. Say goodbye to fiction, say hello to non-fiction. Think about all of the thousands of people who have lived, the millions of people who have lived throughout the thousands of years that this planet has been a thing, and they couldn't even begin to fathom something like this existing. And here we are in this modern age where you have kids with iPads and you have people like us on TikTok, and we're able to converse with each other throughout all of these technological inventions. And it's just so second nature to us. And it's second nature even to the kids that are being born, if you can see how easily now babies are to be adapted to technology and to pick it up so easily, like eating or walking. There is a prophecy in the book of Daniel that speaks about the final kingdom and how it's supposed to be made up of iron and clay. This prophecy and this particular part of this prophecy has a bunch of meanings, but in my heart of hearts, I truly believe that one of those meanings is that mankind will try to mix himself with iron, aka technology, and it won't work. In fact, at the end of Nebuchadnezzar's dream, he ended up seeing a rock come down from the sky and hit the feet where this iron and clay generation was going on, and this whole statue got destroyed, and then a new mountain began to come forth, which is symbolism of God's kingdom. The reason why Elon Musk uploading his brain to the cloud is important is because it's showing us where we are in God's prophetic timeline. We are at this part right here with the iron and the clay, where we're watching technology explode, even to the point to where they are trying to merge it with mankind. And that's just not God's design. And pretty soon he's going to come down from the heavens and he's going to destroy whatever we build here. And if you think I'm lying, it's okay. You're going to see pretty soon. I'm not lying. The Bible is real. Jesus Christ is coming back, and things are getting crazier and crazier with each day. Exciting times if you know the Lord. Get to know him soon.
From what I see, Elon looks like he's trying to make himself out to be this really good guy, going as far as wanting to sort of overthrow the UK government because of the shape it's in. He even went to Benjamin Netanyahu and said that he's not the president just yet, but his face is literally planted on the Economist cover of 2025. You just have to really pay attention to see it. But I can't help but feel that someday everyone is just going to start seeing him as the savior, and I think that's quite dangerous.
You can now be arrested if your reposts on social media cause someone else anxiety.
What did it need to come to?
Tell us why you escalated it to this level, because I don't understand. I posted something that he posted, you come to arrest me, you don't arrest him. Why has it come to this? Why am I in cuffs? Because there's something he shared, then I shared.
Because someone has been caused, obviously, anxiety based upon your social media page. That's why you've been arrested.
So why am I in handcuffs when I reposted something on social media because someone else called the cops on having anxiety from your repost? So that's why you've been arrested. I realize that a guaranteed right to freedom of expression doesn't exist under law in the United Kingdom, but how much more of this crap are Brits actually going to put up with? Because quite literally anything on social media can cause you anxiety. Have you been on the internet lately? And that's now justification to arrest someone? For the record, we came dangerously close to this being reality in America too. But man, am I grateful do we still have the right to offend people on the internet here.
I just want to tell you that America is the greatest place on earth.
This is where we are in the UK. I mean, it's all well and good until you actually give someone anxiety by either looking at them or just posting something stupid on social media. And for that, you'll probably just get like an automatic 10-year sentence. But yeah, have yourself a good old day, chap.
My wife was just oppressed by the biggest demon that exists, and I have a picture to prove it of it inside of her body. I need y'all to hear this. It is the most important thing I've ever put on this page. I'll show you the demon very soon, but first let me break this down for you. 2 weeks ago, my wife got deathly ill out of nowhere. She was passing out, going unconscious randomly, and constantly falling on her face on the floor. At the same exact time, she was having severe pain from her brain to her feet, legs going numb, arm going numb, and stabbing pains all throughout her spine. She was disabled overnight. Now this story is absolutely crazy. It has to do with prophecy, demons, healing, and deliverance. So let's go back to March 7th. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. We had just gone back from the hospital, and I was praying. And all of a sudden, an image of this girl I know who is a prophet showed up in my mind, so I texted her, just to make sure everything was okay her way. Little did I know, this was God's plan. Right here is when it started to get crazy. So we talked a little bit in the morning, and then later in the day I was in the kitchen praying to God for revelation. Then I thought a prophet came to mind. Then she popped up again. I go back to my phone. While I was praying, she texted this. As I was praying, the Lord said, she is unforgiveness. I will show her if she asks me. And I replied telling her I was praying for a revelation. She popped up and she messaged at the same exact time. The unforgiveness part is absolutely insane, but we'll get to that. So now, when me and her woke up that morning, I just felt a strong sense of witchcraft. I'm like, it has to be witchcraft. This is absolutely crazy. A few minutes later, she says, the word that came to my mind when I asked the Lord why he put on my heart was protection. I asked from what? The Lord said, witchcraft. And there's a lot of curses being thrown at you. I'm getting ready to show you the picture of the most powerful demon that exists that was living on her brainstem. But remember, unforgiveness. So I made my wife go pray for 30 minutes to an hour. I said, you need to find out who you have unforgiveness for. Just like the prophet said, tell your wife to ask me, God, and I will tell her. She got in the prayer. She asked God. God responded, you never forgave me for taking your son. Y'all, that's the biggest scenario of unforgiveness I can even fathom. And those witches found a loophole. They were not able to cast a spell on me because of my protection of the Lord, but the loophole was they found my wife, and the demons led them to my wife because she had such an extraordinary amount of unforgiveness, because it was unforgiveness towards God. And that is how Baphomet got there. I casted him out by name. Baphomet. You see right here the goatee. You see the mouth. You see the nose. Look at the bridge of the nose. Look at the eyes. Look at the prominent brows. You see it, right? It's Baphomet. It was Baphomet. All the sickness, all the problems that just came overnight were all Baphomet. So before the deliverance and the healing, I was reading Psalms 91, and she just collapsed. And that's when we started deliverance. And when I was calling him by name, he knew he could not hide anymore. And she started going into convulsions and twitching and everything you can imagine, because Baphomet, he's a powerful demon, and he was struggling, shaking her vigorously for like 20 minutes. Anyways, he's gone. God beat his butt, and the name of Jesus Christ is all the authority we need. It has now been 4 days. She has not passed out. She has not had spine pain. She has not had brain pain. He was causing all the damage. I don't care who you are. This video needs to go out to Christians everywhere so they understand there's quite possibly demons living in these people causing their sickness that can be healed. Why live in sickness? Why live in a disability when God himself offered to heal you if you just have faith? And these signs shall follow those who believe. They will cast out demons in the name of Jesus. They will take up new tongues in the name of Jesus. They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover. For anyone who doesn't understand why an MRI would pick this up, first off, her spine is supposed to be right where it is. You can't even see the spine. But it's because an MRI is a giant magnet. And what are demons but spirit? And what is spirit besides magnetism? If you know someone's sick, send this to them. If you know someone oppressed, send this to them, so God can be glorified and so he can show you miracles in your own life.
I remember a good few years back when my wee girl was about 5 months old, 6 months old, and we were in the bank, and I remember looking out and seeing this man, and for years and years I always said that if I seen him, he would never see the light of day again. Anyways, long story short, I ran out to him and confronted him, and things were heating up, and as things were heating up, I could feel like this calmness come into me, and I remember saying to him that day, I said, "Look, listen, you may have been the big man back then, but I'm going to be the bigger man now." And I said to him that I forgave him for everything that he did, and I gave him a hug, and then I said to him that he needed to get right. What I should have said was that he needed to get right with God, because it turned out that a year later he actually passed away to cancer. So God does work in mysterious ways, but whether you believe in God or not forgiving someone, it only hurts you and affects you, no one else.
Who wants it? Who wants it? Who wants it? Eh? I'll have some.
So there you have it, a camp chair. Why spend 50 bucks on a piece of Chinese plastic when you can have this? Oh, just one more thing. Cheers, I'm going to enjoy this.
You're not magic.
Well, about as magic as your dad, mate. And he disappeared, didn't he?
That's it for today, everyone, and thanks for chilling out with me to the very end. And if you made it this far, you can support the channel by smashing that like and subscribe button. But until the next video, guys, please look after yourselves, stay safe and stay healthy, and I'll see you then.